Hello, my name is Mike Grody, and this is my CS6460 Educational Technology final project presentation. My project involved the development of a web-based shoot 'em up game where players can learn US geography at the same time. Now, obviously, games are a major part of modern culture, and game-based learning has gained recognition, especially in recent years. I also noticed that geography and history and the humanities in general are areas that our society seems to have a knowledge gap on. I talk about this in my paper in the humanities knowledge gap section. So then I explored history and geography games, and there are some history games. There seem to be more history games than geography games, probably because it's a broader area. And for geography games, almost everything I found was mostly just questions and answers without much else to do. So if you're not interested in geography, I don't think those games would be very entertaining. There is one game that I found called Stack the States, and then there were some spin-offs like Stack the Countries and such. Here's a screenshot of it, and I'll show you a brief video of what the gameplay is like. They still ask you questions, but then you have to drop the states onto this platform, and you have to try to get them up to that line in order to progress to the next level. I thought it was pretty cool. It was different than the other things I saw, where it was kind of all, like I said, ask the question and you get the answer. This, after you answer a question, you actually have a different type of gameplay. So very early on, my goal was to create a game where it was not explicitly throughout the entire game an educational game. I wanted to kind of sneak in the education while having some fun gameplay. So that's where the idea of a shoot 'em up game came from. I tried to look for any educational shoot 'em up games, and I could not find any. The internet's very big. There's lots of people in the world, so maybe something exists out there, but I wasn't able to find it. If you're not familiar with what a shoot 'em up game is, it's basically a genre that's been around for 30 years, at least 30 years. One of the more popular ones in the 80s was called Galaga, and you basically control a spaceship and you take on an enormous amount of enemies as you try to shoot them and dodge projectiles that the enemies may fire at you. So now I'm going to show you the game. It's hosted on Azure. If you want to visit and play, it's statesnatchers.azurewebsites.net. And then you're greeted with an introduction that gives you a very over-the-top story. And then you're challenged to do something about it. Alright, and we'll get started.
We are counting on you.
Now all you have to do, if you're playing on a desktop computer, is control the spacecraft by moving left to right with the mouse, and it will automatically fire lasers. And periodically, states will appear on the game playing field like that, and when you pick up a state, it's going to be highlighted on a map of the United States to show you where it is in the United States. Then periodically throughout the game, not every time, you'll get a trivia question. So that looks like Florida. So you click on Florida, and now you captured Florida. You have 2 states. And the object of the game is to get all 50 states. So obviously it'll take a while to do that. Throughout the game, you're going to get a lot of different trivia questions. Here's another state, that's Indiana. There's also text-to-speech where a computer-generated voice says the name of the state to help with pronunciation. During testing, that worked in pretty much all web browsers except for Safari and Mac. There was a problem where it didn't have the voice.
Kansas.
You can get 3 different types of trivia questions. It might ask you to identify the state, You might ask you to identify the capital city of the state, and it can also ask you to identify the state's flag. If you get hit by any of these projectiles or enemies, you're going to lose a state. So that's to encourage you to not get hit. I'll show you what that looks like because it's going to bring up the map again, and it'll show you that you lost that state.
New Mexico.
After I get through these questions. And I'm going to get hit.
Lost Maryland.
I lost Maryland. Well, I went from 10 states collected.
New Mexico.
Well, now 8. It was 9, now 8.
Arkansas.
Now I regained 1, I'm back up to 9. There's also this ability to leave feedback. I want to encourage people to leave feedback about what they like, dislike about the game. And if you submit feedback, you get a reward of 5 free hits from enemies without losing a state. So now if you return to the game, it says in the lower right, 5 free hits. So I can get hit by states 5 times and I won't lose a state.
Massachusetts.
Another feature, if you can see in the upper right corner, there's a game stats link. And if we bring that up, it's going to give us the ability to see, this is for all players, which types of questions players had the most trouble with. It's sorted by least correct answer percentage. Now there's not much data here because I've pretty much been the only person playing it, but as more and more people play, this could be interesting to show what types of questions people have the most trouble with, and then if an educator is looking at this, for example, they can focus their lessons, if they're a geography teacher, on teaching that particular state, capital city, state flag, whatever it may be. And those are the only 3 types of questions, but obviously the game could be expanded to add more types of questions. And then there's also, just for fun, the feedback left. This shows the last 100 comments that anybody might have left in the feedback area of the game. Now I'm going to play offline for a bit just so I can get towards the end of the game so you can see what happens at the end. Alright, so I just need 1 more state, so let's get at it. There's Rhode Island. Extremely small, so it might be tough to catch.
Rhode Island.
So if you complete the game, you get some statistics. This helps to encourage people to play again to try to get better statistics. It says number of questions asked, how many correct answers you got from those questions asked, your longest answer streak with correct answers, states temporarily lost, so that means you got hit and you lost the state, and then total enemy spacecraft destroyed. So what future work could be done on this game to improve it? Well, one that would be pretty easy is just add more question types. One that I was thinking of adding was like state nicknames. And in fact, I might do that after I turn this in and release it on like the Chrome store and maybe the Google Play store, see how the general population likes it. Another improvement that would be more time consuming is adding additional government entities like countries or Canadian provinces, Mexican states, Indian states, what have you. That'll provide a broader audience because maybe not everybody cares about the U.S. states. In fact, that's the problem. A lot of people do not care, so this game is to help encourage them to maybe pick up some knowledge while playing a game that's meant to be fun. Another improvement is that the statistics that are gathered, although they are somewhat personalized in that the IP address of whoever submitted it is recorded. That's not foolproof. Obviously, people could share a proxy server, and those are all going to be given the same IP address, and the data in the database is going to have no way of differentiating them. So if it was desired to truly make a unique experience for each player, they could have some sort of a login system could be added, but that's also got downsides because then people have to do work just to play the game. So I wanted to avoid that. But I'm just saying, if like this were to be used in an educational setting, maybe a teacher could enroll their class, and each each student would have their own login, and then the teacher would have a portal that they'd log into to see how their students are doing, and they could get data on like trends on what the students are having trouble with, and maybe, like I said previously, they could focus lesson plans based on that data. Just an idea. Overall, I am pleased with the results of the project. I did everything I set out to do. Only thing that I can think of that I dropped was the idea of using educational projectiles. So instead of lasers, the enemy spacecraft would have fired something that you could learn from. But during testing, I realized that when you're trying to dodge the projectiles, it doesn't make much sense to uh, have information in them to learn from. It just didn't seem like a good fit, so I dropped that. Well, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoy this presentation, and I hope you try the game. Bye.